Hey there, today we're here to talk about clean parenting.
Ready to clean up the most important job in the world? Hey Live on Purpose family, I'm here today with Jody Moore, who knows some things about clean parenting versus dirty parenting. That's what we're getting into today. So Jody, help us out here. Clean parenting, dirty parenting, what are we talking about?
Yeah, well, I sort of took this verbiage from the way we talk about food these days. We talk about clean eating, right? And when it comes to parenting our kids, sometimes we do it in the most effective way, like the kinds of foods we eat, we'd call clean foods that are really the nutrients and fuel we need for our bodies. Other times we eat junk food that fills us up but doesn't serve the same purpose. So clean parenting is our most ideal parenting. It's best for us as parents, but it's also most effective in teaching and guiding and supporting and loving our children the way that we want to.
So Jody, I like the way that you tied that into eating. There can be a clean diet or a dirty diet. And in parenting is very much the same way. And you've probably already got a sense of this because there are things that we do as parents all the time where we think, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Right? And we kind of feel it later on. So can you give us an example of what you mean by dirty parenting? What does that
Unfortunately,
entail?
I have a lot of personal examples we can draw from having 4 kids of my own. One of the most common things that we do that I call dirty parenting is we just mirror the behavior of our kids. So for example, It's been a little while since I had toddlers, but I still remember vividly sometimes they would have tantrums. They'd be kicking and screaming and having a fit, right? And as the mom, I didn't usually lay on the floor and kick and scream by them, but I had a little tantrum inside instead. I had a tantrum in my head and in my heart, and I was really upset about them being upset.
I just totally remembered a commercial I saw once. And it was so funny because it was exactly what you're describing here, except it was dramatized, right? So the kid, they're in the grocery store, and the kid wants something, and mom says, no, you can't have it. Well, the kid starts throwing a tantrum, screaming and hollering, and mom drops to the floor of the grocery store, and she starts screaming and hollering and throwing things around, and then she stops, looks at her son with that look like, you ready to go?
That's fantastic.
He just puts the chips
Well, that
down
sounds like
and
that
goes.
was an effective way to parent her toddler. But the way most of us do it is a more passive-aggressive type of tantrum. Doesn't send the message we want to. It just frustrates us and actually makes us even less effective. And I'll just give one other example too, which is I coach a lot of parents of teenagers who will say things like, my son is really disrespectful. He says these things, he calls me names, he can be really rude. And as I ask the person to tell me more about their son, the way they describe them is really rude and disrespectful.
They're being rude and disrespectful.
That's right. They'll say, he's just difficult, he's selfish, he only cares about himself. Things that you probably wouldn't say to his face because it's rude. So this natural tendency we have as human beings to mirror the people around us is an easy thing to do as a parent. It falls under what I would call dirty parenting, because then we're becoming the exact thing that we disapprove of in our children, and we're much less effective at parenting from a tantrum or lack of respect, etc. So those are a couple of examples of dirty parenting, but I know everybody's wondering, okay, so what is clean parenting then? And clean parenting, first of all, has to come from awareness. You have to be aware of yourself and what's going on, and then you choose how you're going to feel regardless of how your child is feeling or behaving. So clean parenting is when my toddler's having a tantrum and I can stay calm and patient. And
Wait, this is hard.
it is hard.
Because that, like you were saying earlier, the natural tendency is to just slide into mirroring.
Yeah.
So if your child's having a tantrum, you're going to feel like having a tantrum.
Yeah. And I don't want people to think we're saying that you should become a robot. Of course you're going to have some emotion over it. But you want to be aware of yourself and know that you get to feel however you want to. You can still respect your teenager even if he or she is being disrespectful. You can still be calm and bring calm to the situation when your toddler is upset or having a tantrum. So clean parenting is us being more aware of ourselves and our emotions and choosing them. And I don't know about you, Dr. Paul, but I'm not perfect at this by any means. I don't expect anybody to be perfect at this. So don't beat yourself up when you're not.
It's a learning process. Everything that we talk about here on the channel is you get these new ideas. It's tempting to think, oh, I should be doing it that way. It's just another possibility. I love the way that you've called it to our attention, Jody, that the awareness is first. So without trying to change everything, just give yourself a few minutes here to be aware of it.
That's right. And as soon as we start judging ourselves, we actually lose some awareness because we don't want to look at things that we're ashamed of. So you have to just be curious, like, oh, there I go again, being a human. For me, I just say, of course, I'm a human mother. I'm going to do this imperfectly a lot. But
it's what human mothers do, right?
Yeah, that's right. But with just knowing what we're teaching you here today and a strategy we're going to give you in just a minute, you can make a big impact on your ability to parent from a clean place.
Jody, I just love that you're a human parent because that's the exact kind that your kids need. And you are the perfect parent for your child, probably a human parent as well. Just go to the comments and share how being a human parent sometimes has shown up for you. Share some of your thoughts down there. Jody, just a minute ago, you promised us some steps or strategies. What do you got?
Okay, so the first thing we have to do is just be aware that the reason we're frustrated or overwhelmed or upset, etc., is because of what we're thinking. It's actually not even because of the child's behavior. Isn't that crazy?
This is a really important point because as long as we're blaming our kids' behavior for how we feel, we continue to expect our child to do something to fix that. You're saying we get to own it, right?
Yeah, and that's actually an important cue that you're parenting from a dirty place. When I'm trying to get my child to behave differently so that I can feel better, I'm in dirty parenting.
Can I just add something there? Because we're not against you feeling better.
No, not at all.
But what you're saying, Jody, is that that's tied to your thoughts, not to your child's behavior. This is a huge shift because it changes the focus of where you're going to go next. And I promise it's going to have an impact on your relationship with your kids too.
That's right. And I just don't want you to have to wait around for your child to change in order for you to feel better. Because sometimes parenting strategies work right away and sometimes they don't work at all, or at least they take longer. So what we're saying is, when you recognize that you're feeling how you're feeling because of your thoughts, then you have some leverage over feeling better when you want to, regardless of what happens with the child.
This is your whole business because you're a coach.
Yeah.
And you're coaching people around their thoughts all the time. In fact, you've coached me on that.
Yeah.
Jody's one of my coaches. That's why she's here today, sharing some of this brilliance with you. It's our thoughts. Once we get a hold of our thoughts. In fact, I did another title recently that was called, You Don't Have to Change a Thing. You have to change a think.
I love it. So if it's our thinking creating our frustration or overwhelm or negative emotion, then all we need to do is change the way we're thinking about the child in the situation. It sounds simple. And it is once you practice it a few times. But let me just give some examples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm in Target, like you said, and my child's having a tantrum on the floor, the frustration and overwhelm might be coming from thoughts like, this is so embarrassing. Why is this child so difficult? I can't believe I have to deal with this.
What are people going to think about me as a mom?
What are people going to think? Yes.
Yeah.
A quick go-to thought that worked really well for me was, sometimes kids behave this way. It's okay. This is normal. It's actually natural for kids to have tantrums. Isn't that right?
Have you found it to be normal? Yes, it is. I've got like 30 years of clinical experience in psychology, and I've raised 4 kids. Well, Vicky did most of it. But it is absolutely normal. This is how kids behave. In fact, I've had that in my office before where a parent will come in and describe, this is what my kid's doing. And I'm over here thinking, diagnosis? Childhood.
Exactly. And as they get older, even, it's diagnosis human. Right?
Yes.
Just having a go-to thought like, this is normal, this is okay. Maybe even, what other people think of me is none of my business. Whatever is the most triggering thought for you, I would find a replacement that you can go to in the moment like that.
It's going to take some practice.
That's right.
Because whatever you've already practiced is going to queue up for you automatically. So I love that suggestion, Jody. You just have a couple of go-tos. You might even write them down on a little slip of paper in your pocket or something so that you can pull them out when you need to.
I actually used to do that. When I had a bunch of little kids, I would keep a slip of paper in my pocket anytime we were going to the grocery store or somewhere where I knew this might happen, that I could just pull out and remind myself until it becomes an ingrained pattern.
And be willing to practice it a little bit. It doesn't feel normal at first because your brain's used to something else. But as you practice it, like you said earlier, Jody, it gets easier because you're practicing it.
And I actually have a gift for your viewers, Dr. Paul,
Awesome.
that will be really helpful here, because a lot of times people say to me, well, what else should I think? Like, finding new thoughts can be a challenge. So we've compiled a list of 25 of my favorite, most useful thoughts to go to in really difficult parenting situations. That's totally free, that everybody can go and grab.
Oh, that is awesome and so helpful. Thank you. The URL is on the screen right now. That's where you can get the 25.
Yep.
You don't even have to think about it. Jody's done the work for you, and she is a professional coach.
My 4 kids helped me.
Well, there's that too. Human mom. Once again, that URL, JodyMoore, JodyMoore.com/clean.
Okay, so Dr. Paul, there's just one more thing I want to leave everyone with, which is, if you choose to be calm and respectful and loving and compassionate and all of those positive emotions,
Those good things.
by choosing your thoughts,
Clean parenting.
clean parenting.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that we just sit back and don't parent at all. We're still going to want to hold our kids accountable. We're still going to maybe have expectations. There may be consequences for bad behavior. There may be things we want to teach them. And I don't know about you, but it was kind of mind-blowing for me to realize I don't have to be angry to do that. I don't have to be worried to tell my teenager, hey, you're not allowed to stay out past midnight, and if you do, this is what happens. I don't have to be having a toddler tantrum to say to my toddler, all right, well, I'm going to give you a few minutes, and then we need to get up off the floor. We still got to do the parenting part. It's actually more fun and more effective when you clean up your thoughts and feelings first.
I can just tell you, it's lots more effective.
Yeah.
You'll get completely different results when you incorporate the principles that we're talking about right here today. Clean parenting versus dirty parenting. And Jody, thank you for joining us here at Live on Purpose TV today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
This is just the start, and hopefully you got a few ideas today. Remember to go grab Jody's free gift to you, JodyMoore.com/clean, for those 25 thoughts that you could start to use to replace the old dirty ones.